Go ahead and call the meeting of the City of Alva Tourism Tax for February 18, 2015 to order. First item on the agenda is approval of disapproval of the minutes of from the December 17, 2014 meeting in your packet.
I move we approve the minutes.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes.
Henry.
Aye.
Janet.
Aye.
Norval.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Terry.
Aye.
Motion passed. Next item is the approval or disapproval of the December financial reports.
I move we approve the
I'd
December.
like to have Jody go ahead and go over that.
I only wrote it for the January one. Do you still want me to?
You don't have the one for, this is the most current one?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Go ahead and go over that.
Okay. All right, starting off, we have $558,329.98, $4,220 for the flagpole wiring, $1,710 for the Oklahoma Today magazine, $6,000 for the Chamber of Commerce Tourism Center secretary, $82,500 for the Alva gun range, $4,225 for the Northwest Oklahoma Show Pit Circuit, $500 for futures, $2,500 for standing, which leaves us at $456,674.98.
I would make a note, if you look at our budget for expenditures, the actual expenditure today would include the encumbered items. Not only the items that have been paid, but it would include all the items that have been approved and not paid.
So has the signage deal already been paid?
The which one?
One we approved in December?
What, December?
For,
The downtown areas, the downtown signage?
yes.
Yeah.
I've missed it, I haven't seen it.
Well, that was, I think part of that was to get the other part of their grant.
Right.
So they needed those funds to get, the matching funds to get the other part of their grant, which will allow them then to buy the sign.
On the page that lists out all the hotels and how much they paid, are we missing some taxes for some hotels?
It goes that way.
I'm just surprised at some of the numbers. We have one hotel that has paid a huge number in taxes and others that have paid very little.
I mean, I can look into it.
And this is actually, isn't this, from what I'm reading, is this actually this page we're looking at for December 31st?
This is the only
calendar year or the?
This is
this is the
calendar
one that
year.
they sent me, the most current one, so.
Well, but are the quarters, the calendar quarters, or is it the city's fiscal year? Because the city's fiscal year ends June 30th.
Yeah.
So right now, we would just be in the third quarter for the fiscal.
It's got to be the calendar
Yeah.
year, though, because
Because
of
there
the
are
Alva
calendars.
Hometown Inn wouldn't be on there in the fourth quarter otherwise.
Yeah, I can look into that for sure.
I mean, because we have Holiday Inn, doesn't have anything in the third quarter, Best Buy doesn't have anything in the third quarter.
Well, Western Motel, even,
How come theirs is so low?
yeah, $132.
Yeah,
Only $19 in the second quarter?
yeah.
I guess we could always have somebody come in and explain that too, to the group, why it's like
Now,
that.
hotels and seven quarters.
Could you get with city clerk and find out some answers for
Yeah,
us
I will, for sure.
on that, and report on that to us the next meeting.
Yeah, I can do that for sure, yes.
Henry, do we audit these ever?
No.
We can, but we haven't.
We can, if I remember, if the ordinance is correct, the city clerk really has responsibility for collecting, and the city clerk is the one that would call for an audit. Now, I'm not sure who that audit would be performed by. It's not like the sales tax where our audit with Oklahoma Tax Commission would come in. This is administered solely by the city of Alva. So I think the city of Alva would have to do the audit, or they would have to hire somebody to do the tourism audit.
Okay.
Well, and not only would it be a tourism audit, but if those quarters are missing, it would be a whole sales tax audit.
Well,
I mean, the city wouldn't have gotten their part.
yeah. I mean, that'd be the easiest place to start if you're going to do an audit, would get the sales tax reports from the Oklahoma Tax Commission.
But
But
probably,
I actually think, if I remember right, that is part of the report, is you report your sales tax, what you collected the sales tax to the city clerk. And then there's calculation for the tourism tax and all that.
well, since our other financials were dated December 31st, I'm just thinking this was from December 31st, so probably the Holiday Inn and the Holiday Motel and the Best Value Inn, probably their third quarter is reported in the fourth quarter, and their fourth quarter probably isn't even on here yet.
Yeah, that is entirely possible. If this report is December 31st, the taxes are actually due the last day of the month following
Would be
the end of the
January.
quarter. So what, and if those checks were mailed, they may not have been received until October 1st.
Right.
And so they would actually be in the fourth quarter, even though they were back, or actually be November 1st when they would have been received. So they're actually would have to be back for the third quarter of taxes, even though it would be paid, received in the fourth quarter.
And the 31st of January was also on a Saturday, so.
So it'd
Oh,
be
yeah.
next business day, be the second.
But that doesn't cover some of these hotels, like
What-
the Western and
Yeah.
Alva Motel.
Yeah, what I'd like to have you do is revise this report so that it reflects the taxes that were owed in those quarters as opposed to what quarters they were paid. And I think that would eliminate a lot of our confusion. So the taxes that were paid in November 1st for the third quarter would actually show up in the third quarter.
Okay,
So we're actually showing the taxes reflect what was accrued in that third quarter as opposed to the quarter that they're paid in. Because that would eliminate some confusion if one hotel pays theirs prior to the date and somebody pays their afterwards, or somebody's paying monthly and whatever. I think that would eliminate some confusion if we could revise the report to reflect what was actually owed
in that
as
order.
opposed to what was collected.
Okay,
So if we have that revision for next meeting?
yep, I will do that for you.
Because it looks like year-to-date for revenue is $242,334. How does that?
Well, that would be in
That would be
our,
the- That would just be the third and fourth quarters.
which would be our year. Right.
So that would alleviate some confusion as well. It followed the same reporting calendar.
Where it is
So
very strange.
so why don't we do that so that it reflects the same quarters as the city?
Okay,
So when you say first quarter, that's really going to be for September 30th. So if you actually put the date in there,
okay,
say first quarter, September 30th, 2015, whatever it is, 14. That way our report will coincide with the
that makes sense, yes.
fiscal year.
Okay, I will do that.
But it would actually show the revenue back when it's approved, not when it's received. That'd be the big difference.
Okay,
Any other questions on the financial report?
Yeah, there's just a lot of strange things on that page.
If there are no other questions or comments for Jody, I would entertain a motion to approve or disapprove the financial report.
I move we approve the December financial report.
Second.
Did I hear a motion to approve the January one also?
I move we approve the January and December financial reports.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a second. I have a motion to approve the December and January financial reports.
Henry,
Aye.
Janet,
Aye.
Norval,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Terry.
Aye.
Very much, motion passed. Next item on the agenda is the approval or disapproval of funds for big cruise and car show not to exceed $17,650.
Guess David didn't want to come up here with me. My kid Schultz.
It's my first show.
thought that
My
was
first show
strategy.
in here.
It's easier for him to protect the bullets that way.
That's right.
He
I was
always
looking for
grab
one
you
side
out
to
of
see
the
the gunfire first.
Anyway, like I've told you guys always in the past, the reason this thing happens is because you guys do donate substantially to it. This will be our 15th year. We're going to try and get, we've gotten up to 300 cars this last year. It was around 300 cars. We're hoping to get 400 this year because of the 15th anniversary. We're going to add some things, which we kind of do every year. Besides the other events that we've always had, this year we're going to add an extra dyno. On Saturday night, I believe we're going to have a movie at the movie theater for them to go to, and we're going to try and get a slot car deal to come in and have slot car racing during the show, or some of the things. I don't know if you guys have some questions of us, or what you answer. I'm sure you do.
What have you have sponsorships for $16,300. How has that number done over the last 5 years? Has it stayed about the same, increased, or?
It's gone up some. We've increased the cost to do it some. I don't know. We thought it would go up more last year than it did. We thought we'd pick up more new sponsors than we did with the oil industry and stuff in town. But most of the sponsors have stayed pretty much the same one. But we have charged them a little, or paying a little more than they have.
Because it seems like, you know, your requests have gone up pretty much year after year, and I know you've expanded the show and tried to do different things and so forth, and made the show better. I would think that the sponsors would see that benefit, and there'd be some correlation between the increase in what you're asking tourism and an increase in what the sponsors pay as well.
Yeah. And it has gone up. It's just not, probably not as substantially as we've asked the tourism to. You know, the top 3 main sponsors pay pretty heavily, and then the rest of the sponsors are anywhere from $400 or $500 down, depending upon what level they're at. You know, people that sponsor events and things like that pay a little more.
Do the sponsors feel like they get good value for what they pay, or do they just feel it's just advertising or just?
Oh,
they
probably
just
a
like
little of
car-
both.
They just like the car show and they want to put money into it.
I think a little of both, to be honest with you. You know, where I work, we donate to all kinds of stuff, and sometimes you just feel,
You have federal regulations that help.
you feel overwhelmed with it, whether or not it's, you know, if it's something you're interested in, yeah, it's probably a good deal. If it's something you're not, even though it may be, you don't feel like it, you get your bang for your buck. But as a whole, it does bring a lot of people to town. Makes you downtown pretty often. I think the businesses that are downtown appreciate it because they do have a really good weekend. I don't know. You know, other than that, I would say, I go to a lot of car shows, and this one by far outshines all of them. My biggest concerns with this one, or my biggest complaints, is that I'm a member and I have to work. I'd much rather go to it and have fun. I have a lot of friends that come down and stay with, I have friends that come down and will stay with us.
There's quite a few people here this year. I've noticed too that we had people from Louisiana, so it is getting bigger. But I think that was the farthest, was Louisiana.
Yeah, definitely. And Charlie? The large group come from Wichita. I'd say we probably, I would venture to say probably half the cars are out of Wichita. The Wichita area, we draw the heart. If our hotels weren't so full, they would see a large boom from it. But they do get.
Well, they might this year.
Huh?
They might this year.
I know last year, more of them found rooms than I thought would. Because a couple different ones were going to stay with us and were able to find rooms. But the hotels always told all of them just to come and ask when they got here, or to call ahead on that day to see if they had openings over the weekend, because they sometimes had some openings at the time. So, yeah, all the same events that we've had in the past, we're going to have again, as far as the Pinewood Derby and the autocross and the drag race to go in with the burnout. Usually we have a Saturday night entertainment that a lot of the public come to, as well as the burnout. We usually have fireworks that evening, which I assume we'll have again. A lot of stuff. A lot of fun. It is.
Anybody else have any questions for hands on?
I don't have a question, but I would point out that they're not asking for enough to make up the entire amount of expenses that they project. So they are being responsible year to year, I'd say, to make sure they've got enough to cover expenses without asking for tourism for the full gap every year. Looks like to me about 44.51.
Yeah, we do have a small fund that we try and keep up within the club that we make up differences.
I haven't been in the club that long too, but the expenses for everything else goes up too. And everything from the t-shirts and everything else too, so.
Everything costs money.
Well, I think it's been great for our community for the 14 years and going to be 15 years now, and I do move that we approve the funds for the Big Cruise and Car Show not to exceed $17,650.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the request for $17,650.
Henry,
Aye.
Janet,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Norm.
Motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And like I've always said, this thing happened because you guys helped it. If you guys weren't so generous, it would not be yours.
We have to charge you have half the people. Half the time.
Half the business, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Next item on the agenda is approval of disapproval of funds for Alva Speedway LLC go-kart races not to exceed $6,228.
I am the newbie, and speaking of bullets flying, I'm a nervous wreck.
Well, always easy on them, don't worry.
Well, I teach 4-year-olds, so here we go. Would you like a little explanation of what we do?
Yep.
This began, my children, personal children, were racing competitively go-karts at Wellington, Kansas. Well, it got to the point that the fun was kind of zapped out of it because it got to be the next pro sport and the next drama fest, basically, and there were arguments constantly. So we decided we wanted to open a speedway closer to home. We got notification from other people that they would like to participate. We worked with several different communities, and it looked as if we were going to Winoka, and we had our insurance set up, and we had our track ready, and the day we went to start working on our fence, Winoka called and said, sorry, we decided we'd rather have horse pens. And we were already out lots of money, and we went to the Woods County Commissioners, who literally, between the Woods County Commissioners, the airport, the city of Alva, and the Fair Board, have bent over backwards to make this happen to the community. They have been fantastic in implementing the entire track. Well, we began the track with about 12 carts, and about 100 people in the stands. We ended the season, we've only had one season, with 50 carts and about 700 people in the stands. It exploded. People are coming from everywhere. We have a Facebook page. We're doing all this advertisement, and we get comments and questions and mail all the time. And so for this upcoming season, we've gone from 5 classes of carts to 10 classes of carts because there's that much interest in different varieties of go-karts, plus modifieds. I don't know how familiar you are with carts and race cars and things like that. Modified, so we've changed up our insurances so that we can get bigger. The track has exploded. It's gone from the 16th, and you have to forgive me, I'm really just the pinch hitter here, a 16th in size to a 6th, which is very large. The modifieds can run there, the carts can run more safely. So what has happened to our little bitty hobby speedway is it exploded overnight before we have really got going in our financial and in our money making. It's just exploded, and we have got to do something. We've outgrown the size and the safety of the track, so we had to increase it. And that would be, so you can see a couple of things that we do need that we were requesting help with. We just don't have the funds right off the bat to purchase the big items.
When is your season?
We are going to start, last year we ran July through October. This year it'll be March through November. March 28th through November the 7th. Because I've been a school teacher for 21 years, I really lean toward kids' activities. It's a family-oriented atmosphere. We don't have a lot of things that are not appropriate for any age child to be out there. Last year, our big program we did Trick or Treat the Track, and we had barrel train rides, and we had costume contests, and they trick-or-treated the drivers and got to try out sitting in the carts and things like that. We have decided to try to do something big each and every race, such as we're going to have an Easter egg hunt for our big kickoff, and we're going to do like a remote control race. We had drones there last year, and they would show the video of how they videotaped it from air, the remote control drones. We had a special evening where we hosted every law enforcement, EMT, firemen, anybody in service personnel and their family got to come out and watch the races for free last year. We have people from Enid Speedway is closed down, but we have racers from the Enid Speedway in Longdale who come and bring like their antique cars and show them off. And then one night, it was very unique. We had gentlemen who were the promoters of the original go-kart track. There used to be one in Alva like 50 years ago down at the old armory. Lee Haley was one of them. We had those gentlemen come out on the track and explain how go-karting used to be back then. The fans really enjoyed that.
Will the Lee Taylor story about Mr. Bankfield and Mary Andretti going head-to-head on the track?
No.
You got to ask him that story sometime.
No. My favorite story was Andrew Rhodes lapped everybody 9 laps to win his very first go-kart race, and I mean, he's still pretty proud of that. So we've got to hear a lot of the history of it, so it's been kind of interesting.
So tell us about the things that you're requesting the money for.
Well, the PA system, like I said, the fair and Woods County, everybody has been over backwards to be helpful, but we had to borrow their PA system last year, and we had a lot of run-ins, like if there was a horse show, we had to make sure we had their PA system back and forth. And our track has just gotten larger. We need something bigger and more powerful. And I have gone with Gary Brown here in town, and he's not able to help us with that. It's not something he does. So I went locally and visited with the Brats, and they suggested something that would be great for a speedway. So that is what that is. And then the radio headsets, of course, our speedway's larger, and we have people in the tracks and in the flag stands and at the gates and everywhere else. And the little bitty walkie-talkies that we purchased last year, you can't get enough coverage, you can't hear from across the track for safety reasons. Like we need the four-wheeler, we need somebody towed, that kind of thing. And the barrier delivery, in order to increase our insurance to be compliant with the new insurance, we had to have new fencing put in, which we did, and it says on here $750. Well, I need to add another $1,500. I had to write a check yesterday. We had to put in more fencing to that, but we also had to put in cement barriers. These are the type of cement barriers you would see at the car show up and down, and we did find those in Oklahoma, and the people donated them to us, but I had to pay the shipping to get them here, and the shipping, that's what it ended up costing me to get them here. And we got them all set up last weekend. It just makes the pit and the stands just a much safer place, having the big cement barriers.
So if this speedway was to close, what would happen with barriers?
The cement barriers, when we got them from the people we got them for, we had to make two promises. Number one, they wouldn't be used on the highway. And number two, they're earmarked to use at the speedway, but they're all going to the county, or to the fair. They will go to the Woods County Fair to be used in conjunction with any community activity.
What caused the attendance and the participation to jump so much? Why did you have such a successful season?
You have a lot of people in town who enjoy races. They enjoy the car show. They enjoy going to races. And this is an affordable way for them to actually get into a car and race. It's those gearhead people that really want to race something but can't afford to drive to Longdale and have a race car. The carts, they're not your Atwoods kind of carts. They are offset. They have 6.5 clone motors, and you can also buy 5 horsepower motors, and they're fast. And you're an inch off the ground, and a lot of people thought that was pretty good, and they're getting their adrenaline rush that way. They can go upwards of like, I would say on a straightaway, you could get up to about 45 possibly. They're pretty fast, and people enjoy it. And we 5 and under are free to get in. It's $5 at the gate. I know a lot of you who have children, you get the reading awards. When the kids do their reading journals, they get a reading award for every 50 books. They get a prize through generous donations throughout the community. We've also included ourselves on that. So the kids, if they hit the reading goal, they can come to the race for free. So I just think lots of that. People enjoy it. It's fun, and we start up at 7, and we can go up to about 11 o'clock at night. And we have great intermission activities, karaoke contest, barrel train rides. We do all kinds of things for the kids.
As your cart count increases, it brings the people, not only spectators, because you have better races, but also the people associated with those carts, because
Yes, right.
there are kids running carts and there's adults running carts. They both bring
The grandparents come, and the aunt and uncle comes, and the
uncles and the brothers. And
it gets large. I think our biggest night we had 750 people up in the bleachers and parked around and in the pits, and man, I just looked around and thought, this is crazy.
Well, how many of those 750 were actually paying customers?
All of them, unless
Well,
they
you
were,
said the kids get in free.
unless they were 5 or
And
under.
you said one time you had a law enforcement night,
Right.
or I didn't know if that was law enforcement night.
No, that wasn't law
That-
enforcement night.
That's the 750, so I was just trying to get I imagine the drivers don't have to pay a fee, or they have to pay.
The drivers do, they pay
Okay.
the pit pass, yeah,
Okay.
and it helps cover their insurance.
So basically, everybody has to pay
Yes.
unless they've got, unless they're under 5.
Yes. I believe our second night of the fair was our 750. We had a night where we had the Woods County Commissioners challenged each other. And we had several of them and a couple of people from the Fair Board racing. That was fun and interesting. And I think our last night that we did, we wrapped it up on Halloween, I think it was October 24th. We did the trick or treat the track, and I think we had more than 500 people there that night.
Does this interfere at all with your configuration when you do the mud run? Or is it in a different area, or?
We're neighbors,
Okay.
yes. And we actually raced the same night that they had the mud run. And it worked perfectly because they did the mud run and their people would just walk right over and came to our race. And we were kind of careful, you know, when we made our schedule, we don't run the same night of the cruising car show. We don't want people to have to choose entertainment. Because everything here is, I think everything we bring to town is valuable.
Any other questions?
I've been out to this deal a few times, and yeah, it's there's a lot of people coming in, and a big percentage of them are from out of town. And some of them are spending the night, and some of them aren't, but they're all coming in and spending money. And I think the boards are doing a great job and somewhat thankless job. I make a motion we approve the funds.
For $6,228?
Yes, $6,228.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the funds for Alva Speedway not to exceed $6,228.
Henry.
Aye.
Janet.
Aye.
Norval.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Terry.
Motion passed. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Aye.
Aye.